A pleasure to be here with Damayanti Datta. Ma'am, welcome to the Kolkata Literature Festival. You're going to be part of this session called Off the Diet Charts. So, what are you expecting? What kind of conversation are you looking forward to?
See the kind of people we have here today with us. We are all from very different walks of life, but we have one common interest. That is, we are all storytellers of food, and not just because we are foodies, but also because we are very concerned because we face a world that's very rapidly going off the diet charts. So, one of the focal points we have today is whether we have forgotten how to eat. How did in the past, Indians used to eat, and how do we eat now, and what's going to be the future? So, I will be talking from my perspective, my book, Sugar the Silent Killer, which is one ingredient of the health disaster that's happening all around. Kavita will be speaking as a nutritionist. She has a wonderful book called Grandmother's Hacks from Traditional Kitchen Habits. And Sanjukta will be talking about sustainable food and the way forward, how she inspires young people to do it. And Indrajit Lahiri will be talking about, how food appears in storybooks in the past and now. So that's kind of a fun kind of a thing, but there's a dire warning in the background.
So, when you say that you're concerned about the way we are eating food, if you could point out a couple of these concerns, would one of them be the fact that increasingly we are seeing an Americanization of our diet with all these fast food chains coming in with the influence of the West? And obviously, their climate, our climate, their genes, our genes are different, but we're sort of aping their way of consuming food as well. Would that be among the concerns?
Yes, absolutely. But the West is increasingly moving away from the what is known medically as the Western diet, which is high calorie and energy dense, but no very little nutrition. So our problem is that we have a lot of white rice, white bread, white sugar, unpolished, unrefined, processed, convenient, packaged foods and drinks, which are really bad because they all turn into sugar in the body. And we consume those in excess. So that's my perspective because that's what I've been focusing on. But we have a lot of problems in the sense that we consume a lot of high sugar, high fat, high salt food. And that needs to change because we never had diets like this. We hardly ever we don't even know where our food comes from. Do you know from where your food comes from? And then we have 300 names under which sugar hides in a food chain, added sugar. So, all those things, I don't know. I mean, except for consciousness among consumers, it's very, very difficult to change that slide that we are on.
If you look at Kolkata's food culture, Kolkata's food habits, and maybe if you compare and contrast that with a few of the other metropolises in the country, what would you make of it? Do you think that in comparison to the other cities, we eat more healthily or less healthily?
See, I mean, one thing I've mentioned in my book is that Kolkata eats a lot of sweets, but a lot of traditional sweets are gentler and made of traditional sugar. And then we, for some reason, do not top the country in diabetes, which is Tamil Nadu, Kerala. So some people say that maybe it's the fish in our diet which is healthy. But then Kerala also has a lot of fish in their diet. So it's a very complicated thing. It's very hard to say. We love food. But at the same time, I think we need to be aware of we are moving increasingly towards animal food. That was never the thing apart from fish. And away from plant-based foods. So maybe we need to think that through.
When it comes to sugar specifically and the kind of ways in which we consume sugar in this country, what would you say are the biggest challenges in terms of preventing this devastating effect of sugar on our diets and on our health in the long run? What would you identify as the biggest challenges that need to be tackled right away?
See that we are the hubs of obesity, diabetes, and heart disease in the world. Obviously, we are eating all wrong. I mean, I mean Indians. So, one of the things I think that we need to look back and think about how our ancestors ate when we didn't have these sorts of epidemics of diseases. That's one thing. The other is that we have to eat with nature, have more. For sugar, try fruits, try raisins instead of sugar or sugar substitutes, which are equally bad, and go less heavy on maida. Or even if you do somehow balance eating, I follow the intermittent diet of which was started by the Buddha 5,000 years ago. And so I fast for a long period of time, then I can eat anything. And it has really helped me. So there are many ways of tackling. You have to balance out and take something that suits you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, ma'am. Have a great time at KLF.